a lot of time in law enforcement, especially in corrections, the people that are at the top are connected to the people in the middle that are connected to the people at the bottom. What I mean by that is you have deputy superintendents either sleeping with, dating, or married to a sergeant. Or you have a sergeant sleeping with, married to, or dating, or a relative of an officer. Some people don't even change their last names. They have common law last names. So when you're reporting an incident, you have no clue who you're actually reporting something to or something about, especially as a new officer. So it's just kind of something for people to realize that there's a lot of connections. It's not as simple as just go to your manager and report it. That manager could be the husband or wife of the other person that you're actually reporting on. And then it gets back to everybody else. And then there's an implication for probably the rest of your career. So when you're getting in there, the first thing you want to do, like all of us, you want to connect. You want to feel like, you know, you're part of something more. And initially, I wasn't hated on. I had no real issue the first couple months. I worked hard. I just kind of kept my mouth shut, did my overtime, did my stuff as well liked by the offenders. I had no problems. Eventually, a couple months in, I start to notice people in the lunchroom using the N-word. I start to notice, you know, when that incident happened with the young boy that fell into the pit, in Ohio, I believe it was, in the gorilla pit. That was a white kid. And you have an officer that's sitting there watching this on TV, and he goes, must have been and then he uses the N-word, must have been an N-word mom. You're looking at the senior officer like in disbelief. And he's saying this in front of another colored, racialized employee with complete arrogance, complete prejudice, and has absolutely no regard for how you're going to feel, what you're going to think about it. I've heard them call black offenders the N-word, like I mentioned earlier, and in that report that I wrote as well, covering up for use of forces where they're using the N-word. And I'm in the lunchroom and people are going, well, yeah, he slammed him with the door and he called him the N-word. That's what this inmate's saying. They go, okay. Well, did he? Yeah, well, he did. So what? Fuck him. He's an inmate. So you're hearing this stuff. I mean, one, what does that do to you as a racialized employee working for the government of Ontario? How do you feel psychologically to know that this is what these white officers are allowed to do and have been doing? And then secondly, you have to do you have to calculate when is it the right time to report something, right? So it took me a little while to begin to start reporting these things, right? And just kind of gather information and understand like, okay, it's not everybody that's racist, but everybody is complicit in the racism because they're all quiet. So I think that's a very vital thing for people to realize. Like, if you're silent, you're complicit in racism. You're complicit in sexual harassment. You're complicit in every other aspect of human rights breaches in the workplace if you're not reporting it. So when I got into corrections, they would tell us, oh, if you see something, kind of contrary to Nadine, and I think Nadine had got in a while before me. But when I got in, at least at the police college, they were saying, report it. You know, but as soon as you get there, the union is telling you, don't ever report it. On every report, you're supposed to put, do not recall. So first of all, you're not supposed to report anything. Second of all, if a manager asks you about an allegation that occurred, you just put do not recall. You do not put one of your brothers and sisters in this type of predicament. So you're taught that socially, maybe not educationally at the police college, but socially through union members, through senior people, some people that are managers, some people that are other staff. And these people hold positions of power over you, both being your senior managers or senior officers. And those are the people you're learning from. So that's what makes it very difficult when you come in.
Sorry. And this is what I want the people to understand. We know this, and we've been saying this for so long. Look, to me, it's amazing to hear guards speaking about this. That to me is amazing to hear the honesty amongst guards. And that's why I don't fight anyone. There's some people that say they don't want to deal with the guards at all. No, because change comes from within. We need this truth. Because imagine what they're going through now. Imagine what the inmates go through and the families go through. Imagine what we as a community go through and don't even understand that sometimes when we think something's not right, that's because it's true. It's not right. And we're hearing that from inside. That's why this is so important.
I even went to a specific meeting where I talked about in a big boardroom with a lot of managers. I talked about the racism that's going on and the use of the N-word from officers towards inmates and towards members of the public. Now, one person, and these are Black managers, racialized managers, Indian, Black, Hispanic, sitting at the table. Now, one person even responded. Now, one person even followed up and asked me, where's this going on? How is this going on? How can I investigate? We need to report this. Now, one person. Because when you're a new rookie, you're looking to reach out for help. You don't necessarily know how to report it. The union and these senior officers that are perpetuating these issues are the ones telling you don't report anything. Then you have these councils and these people that you feel you can go to, but they remain silent. For them, it's a day out of the job. It's a day, it's a training day. It's no different. It's just a committee. It doesn't mean anything unless you're actually taking action. But are they willing to go and sacrifice and put themselves out there and report their own management for lack of accountability towards people who have reported racism? And the answer is they're not. So for 2.5 years, I kept going to CURE conferences and meetings. I actually, with the third highest person in the government at that time, a regional director from Toronto that governs all the Toronto jails, I connected with her and we worked on a thing called the Diversity Mentoring and Partnership Program. And basically it was to address systemic racism issues in the workplace. I emailed her and told her, I don't even feel comfortable as a minority within my own workplace. No email back. I went to my superintendent as a last resort after going to my deputy superintendent. And I said, there's racism in this facility. You realize that? You know what her answer was? I know there's racism in this facility. You're not the first to tell me that. And instead of actually investigating, they offered me a bribe. They offered me a job and asked me to take this job and to just drop everything and just leave. And it was a very, very tempting position because they know that that is what I wanted. They offered me a position at another facility that would go completely behind everybody's back. It wasn't even posted for anyone. It was just a position that they would create specifically for me to stop bringing up human rights abuses in the workplace. I said no. I was disgusted, completely disgusted. I took a couple of weeks of sick leave off, and then I resigned. I handed my badge in,